Are we live? Is it going?
It's going now.
I'm waiting because I've been sitting here for a long time.
Look,
waiting to get started.
We got to keep on you to make sure that this is a trend that continues.
What do you mean a trend?
Hello, everyone, and welcome.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to. See, I'm trying to do everything, and I just get cut off, and I get complaints.
Episode 169. I waited till you stuffed your face before I pulled out the 69.
That is day-old cornbread, and it is good.
That should have been your nickname in high school. Day-old cornbread. Here comes day-old cornbread. House cleaning. Quick Save Club is playing Screamer 2 and racing games. It's any racing game you want to play, as long as it's on the PC and you're having a good time, because that's what we're going to talk about soon. And then before that, we got to do an episode on what game was that? Torchlight 2. At some point, we'll do that. Next month, I don't remember what the heck we were playing. I don't even know. Something, though. It's PC related. Cartridge Club is playing Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap. I did try to play that game. Have you ever played that? Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap? He's shaking his head no. He's muted now because he stuffed his face so full of cake that he can't talk. He's like
cornbread, not cake.
What was that guy, Raymond Burr, who shot Alexander Hamilton or something?
Oh, the Got Milk commercial?
Yeah, the guy had the peanut butter in his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you.
That was a trivia question when we had the two dorks on.
That's right. And I remember the answer. It was Raymond Burr. It was Raymond Burr. Raymond Burr shot Alexander Hamilton.
Raymond Burr.
Yeah. I tried playing one. Have you tried to play Wonder Boy 3? No.
I have never played a Wonder Boy game at all.
So
is this a modern Wonder Boy game?
I think it's either the modern one or the original Sega Genesis.
Because that's my image, is that Wonder Boy is a really old game that probably only Eric knows.
I think you're correct.
Yeah.
So I start playing this game, and you play this guy who has like this health meter up at the top of the screen, and you got a big sword. And you play through the level as a big sword, and I'm getting used to the controls and all that, and I get through the level, and at the end of the level, my reward for getting through the level was my health meter goes down to 1 heart, and now I'm a dragon. But I'm just a little dragon that walks around and shoots fire, kind of lame fire. So then I get through that. I get through that level. I don't know if you can change back to the guy with the big sword or anything. I don't know. I didn't say if you could. I was stuck as this, dragon that could breathe fire. So then I play through that level. I was enjoying the guy with the big sword. This guy with the thing, it fired. And he was okay. But it wasn't great. So then I play through that level, and then I get through that level, and then at the end of that level, I'm now a mouse with a tiny sword that is horrible. Like, you can't do anything with this guy. Guys come up to him, and he's got, like, no range or whatever. And I'm like, why am I keep playing this game, and the character I'm playing keeps getting worse? Aren't they supposed to get better as you go through the game? You get power-ups and that, and then you take on bigger enemies. Not worse.
Did you read the instruction booklet?
Oh, God, no, I didn't read anything. Why would I read something? I'm playing a video game. I don't read. I hated that.
Fair point.
My buddy Frank used to punish me all the time, get upset at me because we would get a video game and I would just start playing it. He'd be like, no, you got to read the instructions. I'm like, I'm a Commodore 64 kid. We didn't have instructions. You got 20 games on a disc and you just put them in and you started figuring them out. Games didn't come with instructions.
That's true. When I got a new game way back when, I would always go through the instruction booklet first.
Never did. And, it's bit me in the ass many times. I've played games where at the end it was like, oh, you could do this. This game would have been so much easier if I would have known that. It says it right in the instructions, but.
That's a good point. You know what? That should be a whole topic for the Retro Nonsense podcast.
Yeah.
Because I've heard a lot of podcasts do like top fives, this and that, whatever. I've never heard the discussion over how much of the instruction booklet gets read, or if you go through that first before playing.
Well, I believe Chris Roberts is working towards a complete NES manual, so he has almost all of them. So
I just listened to their latest one, and I think he said he's missing like 10.
10. There you go. So he has almost all of them, so he can actually read through them, and just do that. That's your podcast. Just read through the NES manuals.
Just one by one.
Yeah. I think somebody was doing that on YouTube a long time ago, where they would just go through every manual on the NES. Like they would just like flip through it, and that was an episode, and they'd flip through another one, that was an episode. I don't know if that guy's still doing it or if he finished it or whatever. Anyways,
somebody would watch it.
Next month, Cartridge Club is playing Ghostbusters, the video game. And then after that, they're doing Turtle Power, which is Ninja Turtle games.
Ninja Turtle arcade games. That's 2 solid months right there.
RFGen, I have no idea. I went over to their website and I couldn't find a thread on what they were playing, so I don't know.
I always forget, and you got to go listen to the podcast, and then you got to search for it.
Yeah. But it's usually they have a thread for it in their form. So that's where I usually go, because it makes sense the way they do it if you're listening to it. But like the game of the month that they play, their episode never comes out on the month that they play. It comes out on the month after. So that's where it makes sense, but it's kind of confusing.
Well, if they're listening, I just want to say I like the way that the Cartridge Club has been doing it, where they put up a little banner and it shows like a couple months worth of games.
That's a good idea. It's always good to, it's always good to, not only for our purposes, but it's good to let people know ahead of time what games you're going to be playing.
Right. Then, or again, with the Cartridge Club, I'm not beating down on you guys. Just saying the Cartridge Club, they also put it in the Twitter name, just super easy access.
That's way too much work. Now you're talking crazy talk. Well, to be fair, I think RFGen has 2 guys, where the Cartridge Club has a team. There's like a bunch of people that work there, and Josh. And Josh. And
Josh works everywhere.
He's everywhere. He's works for everybody. Can you check if on your Tubi, if you have the movie Long Shots? Because this month, it's Tubi Magic, and we're supposed to be doing the movie Long Shots, aka
I did check, and I don't have it.
You don't have it on your Tubi?
No, I don't.
Damn it!
Because I have also been updating my Twitter with the Fandango of the month.
Yes,
and I couldn't find anything for this Long Shots.
Okay, but if I play the movie down on Discord for you, that should work okay though, right?
That's what I'm going with.
Okay, all right. So we're still good, because I have, and it's on Tubi. It's not something I'm downloading or anything. It'll be on Tubi, so it should still work. We did do the Festivus on the 23rd, and that worked out pretty well. I
heard. I had hoped to try to get in there, but I couldn't.
We watched the episode, and then we were kind of craving more, so we ended up watching the extras, because there was some discussion over who actually wrote that episode, because there was one guy that was credited as the writer for that episode, but it felt like Festivus felt like a Larry David idea. Like it just felt very Larry David. But no, it turned out that it was this one guy, like his parents, his dad especially, started his own. He didn't like the commercialism of Christmas, so he started his own holiday. And apparently it wasn't set on December 23rd. It would happen like on a weekend sometime in December, and they would find out like, okay, we're doing Festivus this weekend kind of thing.
So the term Festivus was actually from his childhood.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there was something else in that episode. That episode had, we were counting, it was like there was like 4 or 5 things in that episode that are all going on at the same time. Because you got Festivus, but that's only a small part of the episode. Because the episode's actually called The Strike. And the big part of the story is about how Kramer goes back to this bagel place to work, because he was on strike. And
he never quit his job.
He never quit. They went on strike because they wanted a certain amount of pay an hour. And then they found out that the bagel place was finally offering them that pay, but it was only because they raised minimum wage to the pay that they were asking for. Right. So now then he goes back to work. Lane gives Kevin McDonald from the what the heck's the name of that show? Not New Kids on, but Kids in the Hall. He's the guy that's dressed in the all denim. He's got the denim vest and the denim shirt.
Right.
So she gives him her phone number on the back of a sub card, and there's a punch card. And if she got like 12 punches on it, she gets a free sub. And she accidentally writes down a fake phone number to that guy on there. So there's that storyline going on. There's a bunch of storylines going on in that one.
Well, there always are.
Yeah.
There's always 2 or 3 things going on. It's amazing because usually you got your A and your B, but Seinfeld would often have a C or even a D.
Yeah, and then they would all tie in.
And they would all tie together. It was great.
And it does in that episode. Everything comes together. Oh, and then, of course, the good light, bad lighting. The Two-Faced that Jerry is dating.
Right.
That happened to the same guy, too. So that was a story from his past, and the Festivus thing were 2 stories from his past. And yeah, it all ties towards the end where they have that family dinner, and he was given, or no, maybe it was the Festivus cards. The cards that he given. I can't remember. Anyways,
I can't remember. You saw it like a week
it was
ago.
The 23rd.
I haven't seen it in 15 years, and it sounded familiar.
I've only seen it about a dozen or so times. So
right.
Okay. How about in February for Fandango? What do you think of doing The Godfather 1 and 2?
Any particular reason?
I just feel like watching them.
Just feel like watching them.
Yeah.
That's cool because I've always wanted to watch those. I saw Godfather so long ago that I don't really remember much.
So 1 and 2 are big long movies. So I won't subject anyone to 3, but if you want to watch 3, it'll be available.
I've heard tell of 3.
Well, and here's the other thing too. Francis Ford Coppola just redid 3. I don't know if he rebooted it or
rebooted,
mastered it. I don't know. He did something with 3 where he edited it so things made a little more sense. Really, at the end of the day, when it comes to Godfather 3, it's Sofia Coppola's acting. She's a great director. She picks good scripts for her movies. But when she was a teenager for that film, she was just god awful. And Francis Ford Coppola had, I don't know, some sort of blinder on when it came to her acting, because but it's not a bad movie. It has some good parts in it, but we'll get to it next month. So Godfather 1, 2, and 3 if you feel like it.
Okay, sure.
All right, we got lots to talk about, so might as well just get into the rundown.
Yeah, all right. Gosh, what we got in here?
Oh,
all right. Well, I know Rocket Sauce is out there, so let me say this while he's around.
Bill says Sofia Coppola admits that her acting was bad. That's pretty.
I suppose you'd have to if the entire internet is constantly beating on you.
Yeah.
By the way,
happy New Year. By the way, I almost forgot to tell you Happy New Year.
Happy change of number.
Let me ask you, because you're the English guy. You have like the English. It's Happy New Year, right? Not Happy New Year's.
Well, it's only one new year
right
we're going into.
See, I think where people get confused, it's New Year's Eve, because the Eve belongs to New Year's. New Year's Day. But it's Happy New Year, not Happy New Year's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it's just, Friday. I really could care less about New Year's.
2021 is off to a good start.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Are we really going to do that later?
Yeah. Right. Or we can do about it now if you want.
I want to start with something. We'll sandwich it.
Okay.
We're going to crush that thing in the middle there. I started off the new year. My Happy New Year was playing the Nintendo 64. I had a little craving. Yeah, it's odd because it's a system that I very rarely use, but I still keep it. And I've only got 4 games for it now. And I was just thinking, why not? I'm on winter vacation here. I've got some time. The kids will probably get a kick out of it. Hook up the old Nintendo 64, which looks like garbage on contemporary televisions. But I hooked it up and I put all 4 games that I have in, which are no wonder I'm so grumpy. WrestleMania 2000, WCW NWO, I think,
Wrestling.
Revenge. 2 wrestling games, which are like the same exact game, except I do think that WCW one is a little bit better. Rogue Squadron and Sin and Punishment. Those are the 4 games I still have. And I realized that the wrestling game is pretty fun if you're into a wrestling game. The controls are great. Like, it really controls very well. I understand why so many people went gaga over those games. But even Rogue Squadron and Sin and Punishment, not grabbing me the way I thought they would. Yeah, Rogue Squadron's fun, but once you've played like the Battlefront games, early 2000 Battlefront games, like, yeah, that's the better flight simulator, and you get to run around and stuff. And yes, get bonus. I was waiting for that, and it didn't impress me one bit when it happened. And that game is like all the anime style, and voice acting is so...
That's anime for you.
Not appealing to me right now. So I don't know. It didn't grab me. So my kids and I played the wrestling games for a bit, and they were having fun. Just, bouncing off the ropes, and every time you fall down, they think it's funny. So we had that. So
that's good.
There you go. I also, if you want to keep on the track, I also played Super Mario Brothers again, because I listened to that Retro Nonsense podcast, and they were going on about how they like Super Mario 1 better than 2 or 3. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should give that a shot. And I played through the first level all the way to the flagpole.
Wow.
Yeah.
On your first try, did you get through it?
No
death run?
No death run. Perfect. Awesome. That's the thing with Mario Brothers. Once in a while, they'll get motivated to go back to it, but I only ever make it to the first level. And then I'm like, oh, I'm good. I really don't need to do anymore.
I got to agree with the Retro Nonsense. Are they the crew now? Are they the Retro Nonsense crew?
It's the Retro Nonsense podcast, and it's Duke with Chris.
Well, I agree with those guys. I think Super Mario Brothers, level design wise and just gameplay wise, is 2 is just kind of not really my thing. You could tell, like, it is a different game, like it's not really a Mario game. And then 3, there's no it just it goes on too long. Like it feels like it needs a save point at some point. Like, I'm not going to sit there, like, every time I turn on that game, so you got to start all the way at the beginning and play through all the stuff at the beginning, and then it's like, okay, I'm kind of done with this game right now. I'd just like to put a period here and move on. Whereas the first one, as long as you know where the warp pipes are, you can just kind of, go through the games really fast and zip through it.
Right. Well,
like get to a point where you've been.
You have that in part 3. Granted, it's been a long time since I've played it, but there were warps, and you got, was it the flute or something that lets you skip ahead?
But I guess,
but still, if you were sitting, even if you were sitting down to play like a quick run through it, isn't it still a couple of hours to get through that game?
Yeah.
Because I've never beaten that game. I played it a lot when I was a kid because my cousin had it. So I could only play it when I was at her house. But even then, it's like I'd get to the last level with the ship and the cannonballs and stuff. And I don't know, there were some times where I just couldn't get through it. And other times where just, I've been playing for so long.
Yeah.
I got to take a break.
That's what I mean, And I suppose you could leave the thing on and, get back to it later, whatever. Anyways, it's not a bad game, not hating it. Just comparing, if you're going to compare the first 3 Super Mario Brother games, I prefer the first one, even with its inferior graphics. I think gameplay wise, it's better. Okay. What's Deponia?
Deponia is a point and click PC game series. I believe there's 4 of them.
I see them all the time. I never really investigate
I
them.
bought them a while back, and I was trying to just get a bunch of different, like, oh, that was back when I realized they have been making point and click games beyond the 90s. It's like, well,
Yes.
really?
Right.
They still make these things? So I bought a bunch of them when they were on sale and never played them. And then again, winter vacation, had some time, so I figured, all right, give it a shot. And it's one of those, it's good, but not great. There are some really good moments, and the gameplay itself is fun. It's just one of those games that has a really annoying main character. And in these point and click games where there's a lot of dialogue and a lot of options, it gets grating after a while. And I don't understand why they do that in so many of these games. Like, you kind of have like a goofball character. Like, think of the Monkey Island games. The main character, he's a little off, but in a funny, charming way.
Yeah.
This game and other games like it's just more annoying to the point, like, can you focus on what's going on? Can you pretend to be a hero instead of constantly being so stupid that you can't pay attention to the plot and everything? It's quirky but not annoying. They can't seem to get that right.
Yeah.
So if you can, I've been like fast clicking through a lot of the dialogue because the puzzles at times are really fun. In fact, I'm on the second game now, and there were 2 puzzles that kind of really break the fourth wall. If you think back to like the X-Men game on the Genesis, where you had to physically hit the reset button,
Right.
or Metal Gear Solid, where you have to look on the back of the CD case for the code. There were a couple little things like that which I thought were clever. So I'm going to play through the games, and I think I have the third one too. But main character is really obnoxious.
That's
I don't understand how people can't get that balance right. Quirky and fun and entertaining without being super obnoxious. Like we do.
Yes, that's us. You just described us. All right. Well, okay, I'll just mention my video game before we move on, because we're in the video game section, I guess. I really not avoided, but just really hadn't been in the mood to play too many games last year. But towards the end of the year, I have this idea in my head that I'm going to get through 2 Assassin's Creed games within a year. So then eventually I'll catch up to the Assassin's Creed games for some reason. So I've been stuck on 3 for like 3 years. So I finally finished the Assassin's Creed 3, and it was okay. I started playing some of the DLC, and it wasn't really grabbing me. So I just jumped right into Assassin's Creed 4. And Assassin's Creed 4 it's a pirate game. It's not even really an assassin game. You play an assassin, but you have your own pirate ship, and you can they give you like this part of the Caribbean that you can float around and go on different islands and explore and find things and find treasures, and you can upgrade your ship, and you can upgrade all your ninja stuff, like your blades that come out, I guess assassin stuff, your blades that come out of your wrists, and your sword and all that. And you can take over other ships. You can use your spyglass and look at a ship and see, hey, that ship has wood, and for my next upgrade I need 100 pieces of wood, so let's go take over that ship. So you can just sail on over and start shooting your cannons at it, not destroy it, just get it down to a point where you can swing over to the other ship and take it over, and get your wood that you can then use to upgrade your ship, so then you can take on bigger ships. And there's these forts, and you can go and bomb the forts and knock all them down. Then you can take over the forts and all that. It's good times. It was a lot of fun. I was enjoying it.
Cool. Pirate game.
Yeah. I got it for free too, like from Ubisoft, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, when they were having like a 20th anniversary or something, and they were just giving games away for free. So it's a lot of fun. So it took me forever, though. It was a long game, but I had the holidays too. I started it in the beginning of December, but it took me until after January, like sometime just a few days ago, to actually finally finish it.
That sounds like a fun kind of game that I'm never going to play.
It's really long. It was like
That's the thing. Like when you said you have to go over and get wood, like, oh no, this
well,
is like where you got to craft and save and
it's one
develop
of those.
and
It's one of those.
harvest and all that.
It's one of those games where you don't really have to do that. It's only if you like.
But it's there, and you feel, well,
I
let me
feel like
see.
I had more fun doing that stuff than actually playing the story of the game. I was actually getting annoyed when the game would be like, okay, if you want to like explore this next area, yeah, kind of got to go through the story a little bit. And then there was parts of the games where, because it's an Assassin's Creed game, you're always in the past, but it's like you got a VR helmet on, and then you end up in the future, and you got to do stuff like in the present day. You got to do stuff in the present day because the Assassin's Creed games are all about memories, and what you're doing is you're tapping into your personal DNA. It has memories of your ancestors in it, and that's what you're tapping into. It's really trippy sci-fi stuff, and you tap into that stuff, and then you can go in. So basically, they do that so they can have invisible walls everywhere. Like if they don't want you to go in a direction, it's just like, oh, your memories, like your ancestor never went in this direction, so
they're
your
just
memories are
justifying the limitations of the hardware through the story.
And meanwhile, I'm just like, you know what? Just put the wall there. Like let's forget about the future. I just want to skip all
Just
the
put a
future
big
stuff.
wall, like a real big
fine.
wall.
I'm fine with it. Put like Trump's wall there. I don't care, whatever it is. I'm fine with it. Just let me.
We've had invisible walls in games for a very long time. People have gotten used to it.
I mean, just let me be a pirate. It's good. But anyways, it was good. It was a lot of fun.
That sounds cool. Just be a pirate, run around shooting cannons.
You can upgrade your cannons and all sorts of good stuff. Yo ho ho.
Heavens of the Caribbean. That's Steven's
yes,
line.
Steven. Yeah, it was good.
Hang on, World and 64. Is that a Mario thing?
Super Mario. So
Rocket Sauce.
Rocket Sauce saying Super Mario World and Mario 64 are better than the original Super Mario Brothers.
No, could never get into them.
I love World, and I think World is my favorite. I like that one, and that one does have it has saves. That one does have saves.
I remember playing that game, and I got up to one of those ghost castles, and it was one of those you got to find the right path to get through.
Yep.
I was like, I ain't doing this.
It doesn't take that much.
Where's the flagpole?
In fairness, there is that in Super Mario Brothers 1 as well, where you got to.
No, you skip those levels. You warp right to 8.
No, I don't do that. I played through the game legit, and then when I got to a point where I could warp to that, then I would warp to that.
The game that I would go back to the most would be Super Mario Brothers 2. But even that one, I can't go back to anymore because it's just like, I don't want to play this.
Yeah.
When I often pop in a game, I'll play through the first level or the first 5 minutes, and then my motivation to continue is just gone.
Yeah, that's how Deesh13 Derek. That's how he plays video games. He only plays the first 5 minutes, and he moves on to something else.
There you go. It's the way to do it. So you can say, like, I played 100 games yesterday.
Yeah, sure.
For 10 seconds each. Did you hear their podcast? Josh and Derek have a new podcast.
What? No. What's their podcast?
It's the Not So Special podcast rebooted or relaunch or something.
What feed is that on?
I don't remember, but it was on Twitter. So I clicked on the link and it brought me to the thing. And they talk about a lot of stuff.
Like what do you mean a lot of stuff? What does that mean?
I think it was like 2.5 hours.
Not So Special podcast, 2 new episodes.
Oh, 2 new episodes. I haven't gotten the newest one.
Well, this might. No,
It came out like maybe before Christmas, after Christmas, somewhere around there.
No, this is saying episode 1 and 2 are new. That's not new. Well, I'd never heard about this, so I'm
go to Josh's Twitter and just scroll through his old posts and you'll find it.
That sounds like a lot of work. I feel like as if this podcast should just come to me.
It was pretty brutal at the beginning. Not for the show. I mean, they have some entertaining conversations, but
Be
they
careful now. This is a new podcast, and we know
I know,
how
but
sensitive people are with their new podcasts. So
I
be
know, but
nice.
I'm saying it was pretty brutal at the beginning
Learn
because
your lesson.
they started by dragging out the corpses of all the podcasts that were canceled or have gone on hiatus in the past year. And there were so many podcasts they listed.
Well, that sounds like fun. What are you
It was
talking?
so
That doesn't
fun.
sound brutal. It sounds like a blast.
Yeah, well, brutal for some people, but I was highly entertained by that.
Oh wow. Okay. I was let's see, I bet you we got some people in the chat that were might have been scalded a bit by that show. That's good. All right. Well, I want to hear that. That has motivated me now to scroll through Josh's timeline on
Go
Twitter.
through his creepy timeline.
All right, let's talk about miniatures. What do you want to say?
Oh, that was another part of my winter holiday. I ordered so many miniatures last year, so I guess it's been. Oh no, but they didn't show up until late. So really, it's the past couple of months, like 2 or 3 months, or it's just been slowly cleaning them up, getting them out of the packages, because you got to cut away all the little extra plastic that's around their arms, like little seam lines and things.
Yeah.
Clean
You
them
file
up,
that down?
The material that they make them out of them is a little softer, so it's filing is not very easy on that. You got to kind of cut it away, which takes longer, and you got to be careful not to cut off an arm and stuff like
Too
that.
much, yeah.
So one by one, a little cutting. I can't see anymore, so I got to wear those goofy Ghostbusters ecto goggles.
Yep. No, that okay. Was it the ecto goggles or what Dana Barrett was wearing to paint the?
You're right. Yes, it was the Dana Barrett.
She was cleaning up Vigo. Right.
She's cleaning the Vigo cleaning binoculars. Right. Yes. And then you got to wash them. You got to scrub them with a toothbrush, soapy water, because it has the release agent on there. So you scrub all that off, and then you let them dry, and some you got to glue together. You got to glue them on a little base. You got to let that dry, and then you got to put the little like sand and rocks and things down in the basing. So I'm at that point where they're all on bases now. They've all been cleaned. But some of them I still have to put a little bit of sand and stuff. And then I finally get to start painting them. So it's good times. It's very fun.
Sounds like a blast.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very fun.
Okay.
I'll upload a picture for everyone so they can all share my joy.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. Is that all you need to say about the miniatures?
That's all you want to hear. Well,
okay,
more
good.
than you wanted to hear, I'm sure.
Oh, good. Because now I want to talk about politics. I want to talk about my buddy Trump, my pal. What'd you think of the coup?
Oh gosh, well, it took me a minute because, of course, these things tend to happen while I'm asleep. So I wake up and, I have a habit of checking my Twitter before I check the news. And I saw a whole lot of postings. Just, I can't believe what's going on. Yours was something like, can we stop the argument of the left and the right are equally bad?
Both sides argument, yes.
Yeah. It was surprising, but not surprising. In just that for so long, people were talking about, hey, why you keep egging him on? Why do you keep letting this go? Don't you realize the stuff he's saying is dangerous? And everyone's like, it's just talk. It's just talk. But he's got a whole bunch. Now, again, not every... Is it a coup if they don't try to stop them? Well, that's the other part of this.
Yeah.
I just want to say, you got your Republicans, then you got from those Republicans, you got your Trump supporters. Mm-hmm. And from those Trump supporters, you have your insane Trump people.
Yes.
And then you got your, neo-Nazi, white supremacy, gun nuts down south. And
Mhm.
that's really the section that we're talking about. Because I'm not going to say everyone who votes for Trump is part of what happened there. And definitely not everyone who's a Republican is a Trump person. But you had that one core that he was talking to and that he was sending his messages to. It's all this, say it without saying it clearly, but everybody knows what's going on. And that has been going on for 4 years, more than 4 years, I'm sure, with all of the his campaigning and stuff from the beginning.
Mhm.
And it's just kept building and building and building to the point that the people that were standing outside, I haven't checked to make sure this is all 100% verified, but you had the people with all the anti-Jewish
Yeah, there was a
written things like
Camp Auschwitz.
Camp Auschwitz. I'd never heard of this before, but the 6MWE thing, referring to 6 million wasn't enough,
Oh,
referring to
goodness.
how many Jews were killed. You had people with the mock-up of the Marvel Civil War thing, where instead of Marvel, it was the red box with MAGA Civil War, and then the date January 6th to 2021. So, I mean, this thing was built up. These people were ready and planning. And he had that speech not too long ago, like, we're going to march up there and we're going to cheer everybody on. And
Rudy Giuliani earlier that day said the same thing.
what was it? Yeah.
Combat.
Trial by violence or something like
Trial
that.
by combat.
Trial by combat.
Yeah.
Egging everybody on.
Mm-hmm.
And, you got that one core set of people that are completely backwards, that are living in these like pre-Civil War mentality that still goes on down there. And hey, what do you know? It happened. They actually did what they were told to do by someone that they view as being their leader.
Yeah. Well, there's one thing that we have to be careful on, and that is that these people are dumb. That is not the case, because what they are is following an ideology, and the ideology is not something that just appeals to people who are not smart. It appeals to everybody. Hitler had some smart people with him.
Yeah.
With bad ideology. I mean, they were not sympathetic. They didn't care about other people, but they were book smart. They could, figure things out and figure out how to make war happen and burn up Jews and all the other crazy things that they did. But it's bad ideology. And that's what these people are. They are just people who have hate in them and have bad ideology, and they follow it. The thing that, like what I tweeted out that day, was that the whole both sides argument, the argument that this is something that falls on people on the left and people on the right, that everybody is equally responsible. If you have that both sides argument, I am just tuning you out. I will sit there and I will nod my head, whatever, but I am tuning you out, because there is absolutely no way that this is the responsibility of both sides. I have never seen anyone who has called themselves a Democrat let what happened this week. I would even imagine to allow what happened this week. And there was way too many Republicans that were just putting a blind eye towards it, because they have their own agenda. They have their own idea that they could get Trump's people once Trump is done, and they will be president like him.
Right.
And anyone who was complacent with that, you just lost me. You completely lost me. And I mean, it's been said so many times this week, but if that was a Black Lives Matter movement, all those people would have been shot. They would have been dead. I don't think they would have even made it that far. I mean, this was all just a show by Donald Trump. Donald Trump does this all the time. This is like his playbook. The news that day was going to be the Democrats won Georgia. And now the Democrats have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. That was going to be the news that day. And Trump looked at that and he said, I do not like that. I'm going to start up this shit show today. And that's exactly what he did. There was no, like, during the election, they had more barriers around the White House and the Senate than they did for this. There was absolutely no barriers. People could walk right up to the thing. And then when they got to those barriers, there's video of it where the police just opened it up and said, yeah, come on in.
Yeah, there was when I first started watching the footage, I was hearing things like, the police were overwhelmed. There were just way too many people, so that's why they were able to breach the interior so easily. But then you start getting all the video of, it looked like the police kind of pulled that thing back. There's police officers taking selfies with people inside the Capitol building. It's just a way too much of that. And, again, the fact
down the stairs,
Yeah, the fact that so much of this was known that it was going to happen. I'm sure I'm sure the government keeps track on these kind of things. If all these websites and whatever are promoting this, hey, we're going to have this big march, we're going to go there, we're going to do this thing, we're printing up T-shirts, everything for it. Yeah. Maybe they would know this was going to happen, and they would be prepared for it. But you got the protesters were inside and outside the Capitol building, as far as protesters and paid law enforcement. So there's a whole lot that went on behind the scenes that led up to this whole thing.
Yeah. And it's there's rumors now that they're trying to impeach him again. And if he's impeached and convicted, he cannot run for office again. And I think that would be a fantastic way to put somewhat of an end to this thing, because we know that if they don't, it's going to be him running again in 2024 for the next 4 years. That's all it's going to be. There's no way he's going to give up that power. And even if he doesn't get the nomination in 2024, I understand he's an old man, but there's nothing stopping him from running again in 2028 and just keeping this thing going and going and going. And I just do not want, it makes me sick to think that this just can continue forever.
Even if this hadn't happened, I'm pretty sure a number of Republicans that were staying loyal to him for their own political benefit, that are not, to the extreme of the people that breached the Capitol, they probably would have fell away a little bit, because I think he's gotten enough of a taint around him that, interpret that how you like, where it seems like things are getting a little nuts. Now that your term is over, we're going to quietly step back. And he would have lost some of that support. But those people, the furries and everybody that broke into the Capitol, that's not going away. That is going to remain. And whatever he decides to do after this, whatever he's allowed to do, whether it's running for some kind of office, I sincerely doubt he would ever run for any other office than president again. You can't step down and take a lower position. But whatever he does, if it's his radio thing, network, whatever, that's his core. He's keeping them. They're going to do whatever he says, whether it's donate money, whether it's go here, whether it's vote for this person, whether it's, make go parade and make a statement over there. That's it. They're just going to follow him around. And I don't know if that is ever going to transition to, he's going to try to pass that off to his kids, if they would have that kind of ability to pull.
That's what kings do, is they pass off their dynasty off onto their kids. I think that what the Republican Party was looking at was the 75 million people that voted for Trump, and they were not willing to let that go.
Right.
I think part of what did him in more than anything was that he lost Georgia, and that was a sign that, like, okay, well, this guy does get a lot of votes, but it's not going to ever be enough. He has the other side charged up enough that they will show up, more of them will show up to vote against him.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I mean, it's Stacey Abrams in Georgia who started this whole thing. Like when she lost the governor race, and they were all begging her to run for the Senate, and she was like, "No way am I running for the Senate. I'm going to stay here and fix Georgia." There was 150,000 people who voted in the Senate race, the runoff Senate election, more than the presidential election in November. 150,000 people more. That is from people. That is from her group doing grassroots campaigning, going door to door, getting people out to vote, telling them how important this thing is. People who didn't care enough to go and vote in November went out in just a few days ago to vote, just to make sure that this guy, that Mitch McConnell does not remain the Senate Majority Leader. It's incredible. But I think that that's what they were looking at, was that all those people that voted for him, and that they don't want to let that go. They want to hold on to that, and they basically want to have their cake and eat it too. Try to seem like as if they're in his favor, but like it's that game that they always play, right? Denounce what he says, but don't denounce what he does. Like they always kind of play that game, like, he's very crass, and I would never say that, but they would never come out against anything he did. The only one who would was Mitt Romney. He was basically the only guy that would actually voted to impeach him. But anyways, I hope they do. I don't think they will. I don't think it's real, but they really should. Just it would be so nice just to have this over with.
Well, for a lot of people, this is going to be their final image of him.
Yeah.
As president, as who he is just like, this is what he caused. And I mean, you saw there was another video that came out the day of, where he's like, "You're all special people. I love you, but you got to go home, please." That one. And then there's the one where his handlers, his advisors, whoever it is, hopefully just verbally beat the shit out of him behind the scenes and said, "Look, you have got to say something more intelligent. We're going to edit this."
No, what happened is that the Republicans went to him and said, "If you do not denounce this and concede the election, we will impeach you. We will side with the Democrats.
Well, yeah.
We will impeach you." And he said, and he did not have a choice. They put him in a corner.
That's essentially it. They got him to the point where he could not pretend any longer, and now suddenly you got the concession, and
the sad thing is that he conceded through his one of his handlers' Twitter accounts because he couldn't tweet. That's oh man, just an embarrassment. Anyway, I hope it's over with. I really do. I hope this is the last thing, and then we can all move on from it and focus on things like pandemics and whatnot.
Got to focus on all the drama going on in the Canadian government. How about that?
Look, there was one of I can't remember who it was. One of our ministers was caught with a MAGA hat in one of their photos, and people are freaking out here. They're like, "Oh my God, a MAGA hat! Get this person out of here just for wearing a hat."
Maybe he's doing the Larry David thing. Just leave me alone.
Of course, Steven Catmax Gaming, he's Mr. Conspiracy Guy, thinks they were paid to do it. No, they were not paid. They were not paid. If they were paid,
they're getting paid in kind words. Somebody is saying the things that are already in their head. It's like, oh, he's saying it too.
Right. Propaganda.
You're justifying my beliefs.
Propaganda is a powerful thing, man. It's really powerful. Frantic says the people from this coup were being interviewed today. If it was Black Lives Matter, they wouldn't have been able to be interviewed. Also, hi guys. Oh well, hello.
Hi Josh.
Yes. This whole idea that these people were actually what's their Antifa? If they were Antifa, they're all on camera. They got photos of them. The guy that was sitting in Nancy Pelosi's chair, he's a QAnon guy. The guy with the water buffalo horns, QAnon. I mean, they trace them right back. They got photos with them with Republicans and the websites that they go to and take photos on and all that. I mean, that is some crazy level of Black Lives Matter infiltration in their in their QAnon conspiracies, if that's the case. So that's all hogwash.
Hogwash.
Now, Rocket Sauce says term limits aren't real. They stop at 2 because Washington only served 2 terms. Mr. American,
sure they probably have it set somewhere.
This is what I know as a Canadian, and as an ignorant Canadian. When the colonies took over and threw out the British, they wanted to make Washington president. And Washington said, no, we're supposed to be doing a democracy here. I'm not going to be, or not president, but you're king. They wanted to make him king. It's like, no, we're not doing the king thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run things for 4 years, and then you're going to find someone else. And then after 4 years, they didn't really have their shit together yet. So then he said, I'll stay on for another 4 years. And once we have that together, then we'll do it. And then so everyone kind of followed the 2-year term limit thing until FDR, and he ran, like, I think he had 4 terms because the country was first they were in a depression, and then they were in World War II. So he just kept running as president because the Democratic Party wasn't really ready to, they were just busy doing other things. That's my understanding. I don't know. FDR won 4 times. Yeah. But after that, they did put in, he's saying the same thing I am. After that, they did put in stipulation that you can only run for 2 years. I believe it's in there now after FDR.
Believe me, if it weren't written down somewhere, Trump would have been, commenting on that.
Yeah.
Ad nauseum.
Only Republicans who are willing to speak out against Trump were retiring. Yes, that is true. But it has come out in the last couple of days. Finally, Mitch McConnell denounced him, and I can't remember who else or someone else. But anyways, I don't know. Just get rid of them. We all got to be tired of this thing already.
I was ready to just. Towards the end of December, I was just thinking, you know what? January 20th is coming pretty soon. I'm just not going to bother with any of the news. I don't care. Just let me know when it's over, when it's transitioned, and all right. And at least, I mean, it's beyond January 20th. You're still going to hear him in the news every day about something he said.
Oh yeah,
he
of
did,
course. Yeah.
It's still going to go on for a long time, but at least he wouldn't have the regular platform.
The way that's how I felt about it over the past month. Like, it would be, before he'd say something crazy, and then it'd be like, oh, what's the fallout of this going to be? For the last month, like, he'd say something crazy, and I would read the tweet, and I'm like, oh man, this guy's so sad. This is just so sad.
Yeah, that I was kind of getting the vibe. That's what a lot of people said. You know what? It's done. Just forget. There's no reason to get riled up anymore. And then boom, you know?
And then this week it was just, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I understood that. You meant previously, Bill, before. But I'm just saying that this week, finally, some people spoke out. And Rocket Sauce wants to see more Theodore Roosevelt and less Franklin Roosevelt's. Well, I thought FDR was good. I thought it was, you got your old age security thing and helped you fight that war. Got a lot of socialist things done. That's
Is
what I
that
like.
another Simpsons quote?
I don't know. Oh, well, you know what? You're probably right.
It sounds familiar.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. That's enough of politics. We only got about a half hour to go. So let's get back into more fun things. So looks like we have on here Karate Kid Season 3. So do you mean Cobra Kai?
No, I call it the Karate Kid show. People love that show.
Isn't there season 4? Isn't season 4 out now?
3 is the new one.
Oh, okay.
They did 2 seasons on YouTube, and then they got the partnership with Netflix, and now season 3 is the newest one out. And I did watch the whole thing, and I will say that show is very consistent. It hasn't gotten any better. It hasn't gotten any worse.
That's good, isn't it?
It's just, it is what it is. So I find it entertaining enough to watch, and I will watch the other seasons that come out, despite the fact that it is so stupid at times. It is just a ridiculously stupid, terrible show, but I find it entertaining.
I have to watch it because everybody keeps going on and on about it. People who I would assume would never be interested in the show come out of they watch it and then they love it and then they can't stop
Right.
watching it. So I have to see what this thing's about.
There are some things the show does very well. I'm pretty sure I said this last time, but any of the Johnny Lawrence character, his stuff, especially when it's played for comedy, is very entertaining. I enjoy the show most when it's about him. Daniel's character is super annoying because all he does constantly is say, I love Mr. Miyagi. I wish Mr. Miyagi was here. Mr. Miyagi taught me so many things, blah, 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 blah. That's all he does is he gives whiny speeches. And then the rest of it is all garbage about their kids and all this teenage drama. And everything is a triangle relationship of, oh, they were together, but now they're apart. And now they're together and they used to be friends, but now they're not friends. But now they're friends again. Whether it's romance or friendship or business, it's just constant triangles. Despite all the negativity, there's still something very likable about the show. It's just, if you describe what's going on, it's such garbage, but it's entertaining. And a lot of people love it.
I'll have to check it out. Rocket Sauce agrees with you. He says it's bad but entertaining.
Yeah, it's really weird because I wish they would focus less on the teenage stuff and do more on the just Johnny and Daniel and their kind of dealing with their past relationship, and what Johnny's improving his life would be fun. But for some reason, if they did that, I think it would kind of throw it off balance. So it's like you need the bad there for the good to be good. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Bill says that Johnny L comedy is straight out of the Ricky Trailer Park Boys playbook.
Johnny
You've seen
L
both.
comedy? What is Johnny L comedy?
Isn't that the guy in the show? Johnny L?
Oh, Johnny Lawrence. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's straight out of the Ricky. Yes.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of basically. If I think you said you saw the original movie, his character wasn't dumb there. He was just the
Bad
arrogant
guy.
bad guy. But for this version, the TV show, they've kind of made him dumb. He's like he's kind of just a stupid dumb bully. And that's kind of the persona that he's taken. But it's funny. It works for him. He plays it off well. And yeah, there's a lot of 80s kind of cheese in there. Like Rocket Sauce says. There's
lots of 80s.
The moments where Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso are forced to work together, even though they don't like each other. That's when you have a good show. I think it was the second or third episode where they were driving around together and they had couple of good moments. That's all I want. And I'm glad the show is only half an hour because if it went on any longer, it probably wouldn't be tolerable.
Stephen Catmax Gaming wants to know when you will watch The Expanse.
I don't know what that is.
It's a game. It's a show on Amazon Prime. I don't think you have Amazon Prime, do you?
I don't.
No.
I don't watch enough TV to need all these other services.
I tried watching The Expanse. I found it so boring. I got to the episode. I enjoyed like the pilot, and I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. And then I just got so bored. I'll tell you, I got up to the episode. There was two old ladies fighting in a cottage, and I'm like, you know what? This is. I don't even understand.
Fighting, or just
they were arguing. They were just bickering in the cottage, and they're talking about stuff happening in the past. And I'm like, I don't know what is going on with the show. I'm done. I'm out of here.
I don't know. You know me. I watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail yesterday, and I had a great time.
That's a good show.
Just give me the old
give
stuff.
me the classics.
Yeah. Throw cows over the wall. It's great.
What's RFRD?
Oh, this is exciting. I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about this.
Put it in the outline, so you're going to talk about it.
Yeah, all right. Well, I had this idea in the back of my head for a long time, and I was wondering if we would ever do this, and it's maybe not. But the RFRD is the Retro Fandango radio drama.
What?
The Retro Fandango radio drama. I always thought it might be fun if we did a radio drama. Like if we had a script and people started just writing stupid stuff for the script, and then we get a bunch of people on and we all, do our parts and stuff.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Put it on there. Yeah. But here's the thing. We don't write it. We get everybody else to write it. We tell people like, hey, if you write it, we'll do it. Maybe.
We're not radio though anymore. We're a visual medium now.
Well, we'd have to put up an audio only version. Let people use their imaginations. We could be the little orphan Annie of 2021.
I want a scene where I'm in a helicopter and I do the Les Nessman.
Yeah, you could totally do that. It'd be great.
Up in the chapel.
I don't know. I just had that in the back of my head for a long time. So I thought if anybody jumps on the idea and motivates me, maybe I'd pursue it.
For any of you who don't know, Les Nessman was the news guy for WKRP, and he would do his traffic reports from the chopper, but he would actually be just sitting in the radio studio and he would do this. I can see the traffic's building up on the I-9. It's a good show.
I haven't seen that in a very long time. Great theme song.
Excellent theme song. I want to watch the series again. I'm just waiting for the final season to dip in price on Amazon so I can buy it because I have all the other seasons. I'm just waiting for the last one.
Why don't you get it digitally?
I don't know if you can. I don't know. Maybe you can. I don't
know. Tell me about this, The Good Place, because I was tempted to watch that.
Okay. I'd be interested into finding out what you think of this show. So I started watching it and I watched about 3 episodes and the comedy wasn't really landing with me and I found it very predictable. I could kind of just guess what was happening and then the next thing you know in the next episode it would happen. But then the show kind of it asks a lot of philosophical questions about it's the main theme is about humanity and us being good and bad as humans. So I was kind of getting a little bit of a Star Trek vibe.
As you were saying that, I was thinking of Picard and Q. But
it's like Picard and Q, it's done in half-hour segments, and it's a comedy. That's its main thing. It's a comedy show, and I started after about a dozen episodes, or even less than half a dozen episodes, I started really liking the characters, and I ended up just binge watching the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So thankfully, it was only 4 seasons. Each season only had 13 episodes, and they're only 22 minutes long.
Nice. So
I started it in mid-December, and I just finished it. I don't know, a few days ago. So basically, how much do I want to say?
Well, if you want me to watch this, don't say too much.
I'll just say, okay, so she dies at the beginning of the series. Like this, mm-hmm. I'm not
right, because the whole thing takes place in the afterlife.
Right, and she goes into the afterlife, and the afterlife is run by this angel, played by Ted Danson, who's the architect of and he's really good in the show. And he's the architect of this good place where she is in heaven. But it turns out that they mixed up her name. She died at the same day as someone who has the same name as her, who is the real person that deserves to be in the good place. And she's actually a bad person. Mm-hmm. So now she doesn't want Ted Danson, the angel, to find out. So she's put into a house with her soulmate, who is actually the other person's soulmate, and he's a he's got the book smarts about philosophy. A philosophy major, thank you very much. And so he helps her become good, and then the show takes some twists and turns. Now it's not so much about the story itself and the twists and turns, because you can see where things are headed well before ahead of time, but it's about the characters, and the characters are good and enjoyable and likable, and to me that's all you can ask for in a show. And then the other thing that gave me something to chew on is the whole what makes a person good and what makes a person bad. You know, like if a person does something with good intentions, but it has a lot of bad side effects to that good thing, did the person really do a bad thing? You know, and it gets into that. Done all with comedy, done entertaining, and I couldn't stop watching it. Sarah would tune in and out, and then she got sucked into the show as well. And then I had to wait for her before I could watch another episode because she wanted to see what happened. So it's good. It was really good.
I'll check it out.
It's got the so the main character is played by what the heck's her name? She's a blonde.
I know she's married to Dax Shepard. That's all I know.
Kristen Bell plays the lead character. I've never seen her in anything before. I know she's a Veronica Mars person.
That's it. That's what
I've never seen that show. I tried watching that Sarah Marshall movie. I couldn't get far into that. This is the first time I've actually watched her in something, and she was really good. So give it some time, though. Give it some time. Like, it didn't grab me right away. It was kind of like, oh, okay, I can see what's up with that guy. I know what's that guy. And then the end of the episode would happen, and that would be like but yeah.
I don't know. You sold me on 22 minutes.
Yes, the 22-minute episode.
That's great.
So I finished up that. Then on my own, I've been watching some classic Doctor Who. My mom got me a backdoor into BritBox, which is the BBC/ITV's streaming service. So I was able to get into there. I found a backdoor into there, and they have all the classic Doctor Who episodes. So I started watching the classic Doctor Who years ago. They used to be on Vimeo. You could stream them for free online, but it was all fans that would post them up there, right? Because there was no, like, Doctor Who, the old Doctor Who's didn't exist anywhere. You couldn't watch them anywhere. So they would just put them up there. But then this BritBox kind of got put the kibosh on that. And just recently, they got the classic Doctor Who episodes. So I've been watching that. And then I've been watching some Star Trek, the original series. I'm almost finished season 1. Still good times. It's been about 20 years since I watched a lot of the episodes. Because I used to run it overnights when I worked in Barrie, and we had like the same 40 episodes over and over again. There's 80 episodes. We were missing half of them. So there's some episodes that I haven't seen since I was a kid, and then there's other episodes that I've seen so many times. That show really holds up. It's really good.
Yep.
Really good.
We're about in the same spot then, because I pretty much finished season 1, but I didn't get into season 2, and then I started watching other things. So
I have one more disc on the season, and man, they really cleaned them up on my Blu-rays. Man, they look fantastic. The updated special effects really suck. They're early 2000s. Yeah, it's early 2000s CG. I like looking at it to see what they've done. Like, it's interesting to see what they'll have an episode where Captain Kirk would mention, like, hey, let's jettison the pod, kind of thing. And it would just be a line that he would throw away in the show. And then in the show itself, they would actually show like him jettisoning the pod kind of thing. So that thing where like I watched the Galileo 7, which is a great episode that involves a shuttlecraft. And in the show, like, they always said, oh, we could tell that like they were searching for the shuttlecraft and they couldn't find it. And then Spock figures out a way to signal the ship. Spoiler alert for that episode. And Sulu always says, no, it's not like a natural thing. It's got to be man-made because it's making a straight line. And then, they actually show the ship making a straight line now. It's not just, you can have to use your imagination. You can see it. So there's a lot of cool little things in there like that. But really good. Just to piss off Bill, I tried to watch Dazed and Confused again. Have you ever watched that movie?
I don't think so. That's not. No. Okay. No, I haven't.
I only made it a half hour in. The movie is just totally aimless. It's just a bunch of people in the 70s. They're jocks, and they beat up nerds. And I don't know why I'm watching this movie because I hate all these people. You're the people I couldn't wait to get away from in high school. And they're
the alpha betas.
I don't know what the heck they are.
It was from Revenge of the Nerds.
Alpha beta, sure.
Alpha
yeah,
betas.
Right. Yeah, but see, in Revenge of the Nerds were the main characters. I can
Yeah,
relate to
yeah.
those guys. These
Mhm.
guys, like even the nerd in this movie is a friggin' jock. He can play baseball. Like, I mean, come on. I'm supposed to be, and so the one guy slaps the baseball player who's the nerd in the movie in the ass with this paddle. Like that's like their comeuppance kind of thing. They would do this hazing thing, and after they beat him up, one of the guys like, "Hey, you okay, man? You need me to give you a ride home?" Yeah, right. Give me a break. I never got offered a ride home. Go home with your bloody nose. Get out of here. Give me a break. Anyways,
Sensitive spot, huh?
and the movie's aimless. Like there's just nothing. There's no story. There's nothing to connect anything. It's just scene after scene. It's like these girls are throwing ketchup and mustard on and oatmeal on these younger girls because they're being hazed. And I'm like, all these people are miserable. Why? Like, there's no appeal to anybody in this movie. I didn't get it. Yes, Rocket Sauce is correct. We made better choices.
Not watching it.
Coming of age. Very good.
Oh, poor Bill.
Yes, poor Bill.
Hey, before I forget, you mentioned about Doctor Who streaming before, and it reminded me there is a YouTube channel, Fear, the Home of Horror, and I just heard the other day that they are going to be uploading the classic, like legitimate, hopefully good quality uploads of the classic Universal monster movies like Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, and they're going to make them available free on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
So over the course of this month, there's going to be like a half dozen of the like Invisible Man, Wolfman, Bride of Frankenstein, all that stuff.
Is what's this? The Creature from the Black Lagoon.
I think so. I think so.
It's interesting because all the other movies were done in like the 30s and 40s, and I was surprised to find out that the Creature from the Black Lagoon was done in 1955.
Oh, then maybe that's not in there yet. I think they're planning on releasing a lot of them, but everything that I looked at, it seemed like they were 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure if you research it, you can find what's going up there.
I just watched The Wolfman over last Halloween, and that movie is creepy for reasons other than him turning into the Wolfman. It starts off with him. He meets up with his friend who's a scientist who has like this high-powered telescope. And the first thing the Wolfman does is he takes the high-powered telescope and he turns it down. And he starts looking through the neighbors. And then he finds this girl who lives above the shop, and she's dressing in her room up above the shop. And then he goes over to the place and he's like, "Hey, I noticed that you like to wear these kind of clothing." Was this ever considered charming? I understand it's 1941, but this is just total creep fest.
That's what that fits in with the Wolfman persona.
That's self-destructo.
Howdy.
Welcome to the show. All right, one movie I need to recommend to you. It's a movie about the Go-Go's. You know, I like my documentaries about music. The Go-Go's were a band, the first and still only all-female band who wrote their own music to reach number one on the charts.
Do they still got the beat?
They got together and got the beat. So apparently having the beat means a lot of cocaine because these ladies took a lot of cocaine, but it was really interesting. They had some comings and goings in the band and that. It was interesting how they started off as a punk band, Misfits and that, and then they kind of evolved into this pop band that went on to have huge success. And they died out really fast. There was like a flame that went out really fast. But then as they got older, they matured, and you mature a little bit, and they got along again. And so apparently they're playing on touring again and all that stuff. But it was an interesting movie. It was good documentary. It's just called The Go-Go's.
The Go-Go's.
I liked it.
What else we got in here?
It's all you now. You gotta
okay.
wrap up the show.
Right. Well, I mentioned before that I started watching that Comedians in Cars.
Yep.
I finished it. I watched every episode except for one.
Which one did you skip?
Did you watch them all?
I have not watched them all, but I there's like sometimes he's got someone on there, and I don't care about this person, so I just
There were a couple of times where there was a guest that either I wasn't a fan of or didn't know, but I was like, all right, let me give the show a shot. And it was like, it ended up being a good episode, even if there's somebody I don't really care for their comedy or their movies or whatever. But, it's like you said, there's no agenda. It's just
You're right.
talking and having a conversation. And you get to see, wow, I don't really like that person's comedy, but just as a person, that was an entertaining thing.
Yeah.
The only one I had to skip is he had some YouTuber on. And I have no idea who she was. I never heard of her before. But the thing that got me is she kept doing the persona, whatever persona it is that she does for her show.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of sitting with Jerry Seinfeld, be like, oh, so what's your name? Oh, you had a TV show? I never heard of it. And like doing this whole act of like, you're nothing special. I don't know who you are. And just trying to be funny. And I watched it for the first, and these things are like 16 minutes long.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it for a couple of minutes. And I'm like, okay, maybe once they actually get in the car and start going, she'll drop the act and just talk like a normal person. No, it continued. And I couldn't do it. I skipped right to the next episode.
Miranda, was that her name?
Who knows? Could have been.
Yeah.
But aside from that, everything else was great. I really hope that the series comes back. I'm guessing it won't, because it kind of sounds like he's done. And with Corona, this has got to be the most difficult show of all to pull off.
A car with someone else.
So I don't know. It was a lot of fun.
Miranda
God, no! Why did you? No, self-destructive. Why did you put that in my head? Now I got to know this fact. I could have forgotten it.
Miranda sings. There you go.
Obnoxious.
Did he ever have Chelsea Handler on?
I don't know who that is, but it doesn't sound familiar.
Okay, good. That'd be the one I'd skip. I'd have to skip. Like I can't.
I don't know. Apparently, he hates Bobcat Goldthwait, though.
Yeah, well, a lot of the old school comedians have some problem with him, and I think it goes beyond like his persona and that there's something up, because he got in trouble with Jay Leno, right? He went on Jay Leno's show and set Jay Leno's the guest chair on fire.
That was Arsenio Hall.
No, it was Jay Leno.
Bobcat?
Was it Arsenio?
Well, in Arsenio, he trashed the stage. Like he was spray painting the walls. Or maybe the chair was Leno.
I don't know how to spell Bobcat's last name. Goldthwait. Let's see. Leno. Chair. Coming up here. It's coming up. Yep. No, it was Jay Leno.
Okay. Well, he trashed Arsenio's stage. I think it was like one of the last shows before he went off the air.
I don't know. Yeah, okay. Well, apparently a lot of people don't like him.
Well, there was one episode of the Comedians in Cars where he says he hates somebody, but they bleep it out. And so I was like really curious, like who's he talking about?
I remember that one.
He goes off for a while.
Yeah, I did see that one. Yeah.
And so you do a quick search and everyone's saying, he was talking about Bob, because he talks about how the person wasn't funny and had to do a voice and all that. And
right.
They have whatever rivalry. I don't care. It's just, it was a fun show. It was a very fun show.
Okay.
I also watched Weighty 4. The Wonder Woman 84 movie.
Why are you calling it Weighty 4?
Because that's how they write it. WW84. Weighty 4.
Terrible. Terrible.
Weighty 4. Just like the movie.
What is that on? Is that on?
It was on the internet.
Oh, you downloaded you?
It was made available to me.
Out of all the movies, why was that one made available to you?
It was just, I saw it show up and I was like, you know what? Why not? New movie. Sure, let's go for it.
Have you watched the X-Men movies yet? Like the good X-Men movies that I've been trying to get you to watch?
I watched X2 on New Year's Eve.
Like, why aren't you watching the good stuff? Like, there's too many Marvel movies. You keep watching this garbage DC stuff and hating
I was
it.
curious. I saw the first Wonder Woman movie, and I was
It wasn't very
lukewarm
good.
on
It was okay.
Yeah, it's like it was okay in parts. It was mostly kind of boring, but it had a couple of really good action scenes. I watched this one, and it starts with a terrible scene, and then it goes to a really fun, campy, intentionally campy, fun action scene, like the introduction of Wonder Woman into the movie, and it's done in a shopping mall, and it's in the 80s, and it felt like they were intentionally trying to get that 80s action movie vibe. It felt very much like the Schwarzenegger Commando fight in the mall. And it was fun. It was stupid, but they were having fun. And then the rest of the movie is just garbage. It's boring. It's dull. There's like, you focus on one character, and then they got like a second villain who kind of looks like they're doing a Donald Trump thing with him. But it was just terrible. It was just really boring.
I wasn't really like, the bar was set low for this movie, so I'm not expecting too much from it, because
I didn't expect it to be so different from the first one. I thought it would be like, it's okay and a couple of fun scenes, but it was like, this is just bad. This is really bad. And then one good scene.
Stop it. Get some help. Watch the good X-Men movies.
This is what happens. This is what happens. When you watch a movie and it's bad, you just say, "Oh, I watched a bad movie." If I watched it, I get like criticized.
No,
or what happens more often is I'll go say, "Hey, I want to see this movie," and you say, "Oh, I saw that. It was terrible." How come you get to watch a terrible movie and then advise other people that it's terrible, but I don't?
No, because I want you to watch these good movies so I can talk to you about them. But you keep watching the bad movies. Like, you won't watch the Marvel movies because there's too many of them. Yet you're spending all this time watching bad stuff.
I bought them. Can I show you? I bought them. Look, I got a Marvel
Yeah,
movie right here.
Have you watched them?
No.
That's my point. No. Watch.
I did watch Sideways.
I have that on my PVR. I haven't seen that in a long time.
I bought it for $1.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Does it hold up?
It's still really good. It's really, really good.
I heard what?
I watched Wonder Woman Weapon 2.
Wonder Woman 84 is supposed to be a tribute to Richard Donner's Superman?
What? Nope.
What?
No. There's that one scene. Go to YouTube and look for Wonder Woman shopping mall, and you'll see the one scene that's worth watching. That's it.
Self-Destructo says there's a scene where she takes off her costume. Is that one good scene? Is that
takes off her costume?
I don't know. Maybe he's joking. Maybe.
I don't remember that. There's no 80s music. Yeah, they didn't. Again, that shopping mall scene. There's a lot of like the 80s vibe.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the movie, they don't hammer it over your head with bad 80s music or costumes or hair and stuff. They don't go nuts doing that. I hate when they do a time period piece and they just go over the top with all the
like the Wedding Singer.
80s. Yes, exactly like that. Hey, I've got a CD player. What?
Tongue in cheek, dude. It was tongue in cheek. It's meant to be a joke. Okay, that's it. We have to wrap this up because then I got to go eat supper and then I got to do another podcast. Because that's my life on Friday nights now.
How many podcasts have you done this year already?
This year?
This year,
like 2021.
Yes.
This is the first.
This is it. Seriously.
The first. Now,
you bailed on us last week.
That's true. We were supposed to do an episode on January 1st, but I had a sore throat. And I didn't want to what happened was we Skyped with my mom. I had to talk for 2.5 hours with my mom, and
wow.
I had to get that BritBox, that way into BritBox. So I had the 2.5 hour conversation. So yeah, my voice was strained the next day, and I just thought I should take it easy. And then I was supposed to do Bill's show on Wednesday, but that was the day that everything went crazy. So I got called in early to work. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't. I had to get ready for bed and go to bed and try to get some sleep before 4:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. Somehow.
Right.
Yeah. So there you go.
So,
this is it.
So when are you recording the Torchlight episode?
I don't know. We recorded a holiday one, so that was December's show. So it'll be January's show. So we'll do it sometime in January. This month. Sometime this month. I don't know. Josh was in the chat. He runs the show over there. Maybe he'll let me know. He runs every show. Okay, that's it. Follow Retro Fandango on Twitter at retro_Fandango. It is the Cartridge Club's only weekly podcast. That's it. There's no more. No other shows do a weekly show. Apparently, there is a tribute to all the shows that used to do weekly shows but no longer do on the reboot of the Unnecessary podcast. So go check that out. There's a plug for you guys. I will have to check. Send me the what's the thing? That piece of information I need to
link
the RSS feed. Send me that so I can get in there. Hey, look at this. Self-Destructo says Happy New Year to me, not you. Thanks, dude. Oh, you got it, fellas.
You keep your Miranda sings.
Check us out on Discord. We're going to be doing the To Be Trash. So you got to be a Discord member to get in there. And so I guess we're going to watch the movie together. We're going to invite people to come in the Discord chat to watch it. And then when it's over, we're going to have to do an episode about it later.
Yep.
I guess that's how it's going to work. All right.
So all the people that listen to it with us then have to listen to us talk.
Well, they watch it.
Watch it with us, yes.
And then I guess we report what we watched to the other people. And
to the other people.
Yeah, I guess.
The little people.
Listen. We've got 30 people that listen to this show. And 2 of them showed up for Festivus. 3 of them showed up for Festivus. So
I tried.
There's a lot of people. Hey, we had Bill in there and we had the Q Dogs in there. That's all I really needed. I didn't need anyone else. Maybe Self-Destructo and Kyle. That would have been nice to have those 2 guys in there.
RoboCop 3 sucks. I watched it once, Steven. I will never watch it again.
It does. That's the one.
There's one with that. There's no Peter Weller.
Right. Jetpack.
Jetpack. Right.
Yeah.
ARM. Low production quality.
Yeah.
Samurai Cyborg.
I remember that. I remember that movie. My buddy Frank bought it, and he bought it on VHS, and we got it home, and he opened it up, and if you know anything about do I have a VHS tape here? If you know anything about VHS, like the spool on there is big, right? Like it takes up like the entire cassette. When he pulled it out, the spool was about that big because they put it on EP. He bought a movie on EP because they wanted to save so much money. It was that little bit of tape. That's how much the studio thinks of that movie. It was good times.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Rocket Sauce, Cat Max Gaming, and Self-Destructo, and Bill. And that's it. That's all. And Josh. He was in the chat for a split second. All right. Rocket Sauce would rather watch RoboCop 3.
Yeah, at least it's shorter.
WW84 sounds like grease that you use to fix the hinges on a door. Yeah. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.